Good evening, I am Tashon Tyson, in with you over the Middle News Package for today, Thursday, 17 October 2019. In our lead stories, nationally, NEVLEC to commence street lighting replacement exercise no later than November 1st, and drones must be registered with customs upon importation into SKN, MOFA and Aviation says. Regionally, mother and companion charged with murder at advisement hearing in St. Croix, bail set at $1 million. Internationally, EU and UK reach Brexit deal, but DUP refuses support. And in sports, St. Martin pulls out of LIBC tournament, Springer addresses umpire reports. We'll have the details in these and other stories after this message.
Another look.
Different from how you've seen it before.
Another look.
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look.
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look.
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse, Vaughan.
Welcome back. Another national news in detail. The Nevis Electricity Company Limited, NEVLEC, will commence its street lighting replacement exercise across the island of Nevis no later than November 1st, according to a press release from NEVLEC. Manager of the Transmission and Dissemination T&D Department, Mr. Ian Ward, spoke with the VON Newsline and provided this information.
We have received approximately 4,500 fixtures. The idea is to replace all of the high pressure sodium, as the HPS fixtures. So it is actually a retrofit program, which means that we will physically replace the existing lighting fixtures. We're hoping that this program will take approximately 4 to 6 months.
He explained how the exercise will be carried out.
We will start initially with the Island Main Road, that is from St. Paul's all the way around St. Thomas's back into town, and then we'll endeavour to begin installation in the parishes, starting in St. Paul's Parish, then into St. John's Parish, St. George's, St. James's, and then into St. Thomas's. If we're able to mobilise additional crews, we may begin simultaneous projects in St. Thomas's and St. John's and work our way back into the St. George's area. We are also looking to do a similar project with the play fields around the island, basketball and netball complexes. But that project, we are hoping early 2020. We're looking at this moment for it to begin in February, but we will keep the public updated regarding that particular project.
Based on a statement from NEVLEC, these initiatives are intended to reduce the reliance on fossil fuels and its contribution to global warming, as well as to reduce the demand for electricity, and will also positively impact the fuel surcharge. However, when asked about the impact on fuel surcharge and if households across the island of Nevis will see a reduction in their bills, Mr. Ward gave this word to the VON Newsline.
The idea of putting in LED lights is really to reduce the carbon footprint. In other words, to reduce the amount of fossil fuel that's being used presently at the generation plant in Prospect. Currently, our street lights consume anywhere between 150 watts to 175 watts. These new LED fixtures will give the illumination of 150 watts, but in reality will only consume around 60 watts. So based on that reduction in our wattage, we are fully hoping to see a reduction in the amount of fuel that's consumed based on the fact that we're producing, or we'll have to produce, far less power at the power station.
Mr. Ian Ward. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, MOFA, and Aviation has issued a press release regarding unmanned aerial vehicles, UAV, or drones. A drone is an aircraft without a human pilot on board and is controlled by either remote control or by a human operator or autonomously by onboard computers. The press release stated that the Civil Aviation Division wishes to advise the general public that all drones or similar devices must be declared to and be registered with the Customs and Excise Department upon importation into the Federation. The release also reads in part, and I quote, "In keeping with the International Civil Aviation Organization ICAO Convention Document 7300 Article 8 and St. Christopher Nevis Civil Aviation Flight Safety Regulations number 6 of 2014, all drone operators and owners must seek and obtain permission for the flying or operation of drones from the St. Christopher Air and Seaports Authority (SCASPA) and the Nevis Air and Seaports Authority (NASPA) as appropriate as a result of safety and security concerns within the Federation." End quote. The following guidelines are to be followed once permission is granted. The light unmanned aircraft is to be flown or operated within the line of sight of the human operator at a maximum range of 200 meters, less than 400 feet above the ground, and during daylight conditions, among other provisions. Meantime, the aircraft is also prohibited from 1. Operating within 5 kilometers from the seaports, example, Port Zante Cruise Terminal, Long Point Port, cargo ports, marinas, gasport areas, and airport approach and departure or takeoff paths both in St. Christopher and Nevis. 2. Operating higher than 152.4 meters above the ground. 3. Operating closer than 152.4 meters laterally from vehicles or an open air assembly of people. 4. Operating in populated areas including over highways, beaches, stadiums, sporting events or festivities without prior permission. 5. Operating within or over restricted or prohibited areas including the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, banks, military bases, police stations, fixed or mobile, prisons, official residences, government buildings, residential areas, etc. 6. Operating at night or in low visibility conditions without prior permission. And 7. Deploying or dropping unauthorized objects or articles from the aircraft or device or unit to the ground while operating in controlled airspace. Once permission is granted, the operator must adhere to or comply with all instructions given by SCASPA or NASPA in the interest of safety and security. Credit unions across St. Kitts and Nevis are today, Thursday, 17th October 2019, observing International Credit Union Day. The theme under which the day is observed is Local Service Global Reach. The day, which is celebrated on the third Thursday every October, seeks to reflect on the history of the movement, promote its achievement, recognize the hard work of volunteers and employees, honor pioneers, demonstrate gratitude and appreciation to members, and profile their difference. Here in Nevis, the Nevis Cooperative Credit Union is honoring its pioneers. President of the union, Mrs. Vernicia Walters, in an address to mark the day, lauded these individuals for their vision.
Mr. Inge Blackett, founder, Miss Cicely Grell Hall and Mr. Crispin Foy, Mr. Anthony Horner, Mr. Spencer Byron, Miss Anne-Marie Keynes, Miss Eileen Blackett, now deceased, Mr. Spencer Howell, Miss Eugenie Hector, Miss Janet Grell Hall, Mr. Arthur Evelyn, Mr. Warner Revere, Miss Janet Claxton, Miss Alvis Dyer, Honorable Joseph Parry, Pastor Eversley Pemberton, Miss Carmela Hanley, Mr. Edred Ward, and many others too numerous to mention. Their vision, dedication, and loyalty to the movement laid the foundation for the successes that we celebrate today.
In her address, she also spoke to the importance of the theme and pledged the credit union's continued dedication to the community.
Our theme for this year, Local Service, Global Reach, allows us to re-emphasize our focus of building our nation one community at a time by helping to meet the needs of our members. Though our products and services may be local, our strategic alliances give our members access to the global financial system where they can support the educational ambitions of their children and themselves, grow and develop their businesses, manage their health, and enjoy the wonders of the world. As we move forward, the Nevis Cooperative Credit Union renews its commitment to ensuring continued access to the development of new products and services and strategic alliances with sister credit unions and technological partners.
President of the Nevis Cooperative Credit Union, Mrs. Vernicia Walters. A week of activities has been planned and ongoing here in the Federation in marking the observance. At around 2:24 p.m. today, October 17th, a power outage occurred in the Bath Village area here in Nevis. The VON Newsline spoke with an official from the Nevis Electricity Company Limited, NEVLEC, who gave the reason for this particular outage. Manager of the Transmission and Distribution T&D Department is Mr. Ian Ward.
There was an incident at Solid Waste where a pole took a direct hit by a truck. It caused the pole to be severed in two and caused the transformers to be damaged beyond repair. The high voltage lines are currently underground. We've dispatched a crew to section that particular area, and we're hoping to restore electricity to Bath Village in particular.
Manager of the Transmission and Distribution T&D Department, Mr. Ian Ward. 3,677 citizens and residents of St. Kitts and Nevis were seen, assessed, and received treatment by the medical staff of the U.S. naval ship USNS Comfort during its recent visit to the Federation, in spite of the unfounded medical propaganda that surrounded the vessel's Caribbean and Latin America mission even prior to the ship's arrival in our country. Some 25 surgical procedures would have also been conducted aboard the Fleeting Hospital for various ailments and conditions, including, but not limited to, cleft palate repair and cataract and orthopedic surgery. In a statement issued by the Ministry of Health in St. Kitts, the ministry said that the USNS Comfort was deployed by the government of the United States of America to offer medical care to the people of our Federation. The staff of the Floating Medical Treatment Facility, or Floating Hospital, concluded its mission to the Federation on Thursday, October 10th, after conducting 6 days of medical consultations at 2 land-based sites in St. Kitts, namely Antioch Baptist Church at Limekeel, Bastair, and the St. Paul's Community Center. The health mission was conducted as part of the U.S. Southern Command's Enduring Promise Initiative with 2 components: 1, a land-based medical mission, and 2, a ship-based surgical mission. We have to educate our people that if the rain doesn't fall, then our aquifers won't be recharged, or surface sources won't be recharged. And that's the word from the Minister with responsibility for water in St. Kitts, the Honorable Ian Patches Liburd. Minister Liburd made the remarks on Monday, October 14th, during the opening of the 28th Annual Caribbean Water and Waste Association CWWA Conference and Exhibition, which is being held at the St. Kitts Marriott Resort and ends on Friday, October 18th. He said that Caribbean leaders have a responsibility to address the associated challenges or reduced rainfall, which would require improving infrastructure and finding new sources of water, such as desalination, which is a process that takes away mineral component from saline water. The conference is being held under the theme, Securing the Caribbean's Future, Financing the Water and Waste Sectors. In related news, Nevis's Minister with responsibility for water, the Honorable Spencer Brand, attended the Caribbean Water and Waste Water Association CWWA and delivered an address on Monday. In his address, he spoke of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal SDG number 6, which is to provide clean water and sanitation, and stated that SDG number 6 is not just a goal but a basic human right. He added that Caribbean governments depend on private, regional, and multilateral organizations to bridge the gap in financing long-term investments in this water sector. To reduce the risk involved in financing the water sector, he proposed establishing a regional project preparation fund, provide subsidies and concessions, and provide insurance coverage and other related incentives to investors. The 5-day conference is being attended by regional ministers as well as water experts and international partners. That's the national news segment. You can visit our website at www.vonradio.com or check us out on Facebook at Von Radio or our Von Radio YouTube channel for these and other stories. News from across the region is next.
Life can be more fulfilling when we take the time out to smell the roses. And that's why your friends and family at the Bank of Nevis are experts at picking the flowers that best describe you. Whether you're planning to treat yourself after a long work week or finally getting around to that closet update, you deserve all the special things that life has to offer. And the Bond Visa card is here to help you achieve it. With just a swipe, you can turn a last-minute lunch date with friends and family into something worth remembering, with memories that will last a lifetime. Pampering yourself just got a whole lot easier. And after all, you deserve every refreshing moment of it. The ability to make your travel arrangements at your own convenience, whether by sea or by air, now rests within the palm of your hand. With a single swipe, the Bond Visa card can put a world of difference between life and truly living. Whereas the only limit you may have is your own imagination. Apply today. The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life.
Welcome back. Another regional news in detail out of St. Croix. Delisa Daniel, 29, and her companion Kyle Christopher, 22, were both charged with first-degree murder and other charges during the advisement hearing on Tuesday in connection with the death of 4-year-old Aaron Benjamin Jr. The child was found dead in his mother's Lorraine Village Housing Community apartment on Friday, according to VIPD Public Information Officer Glenn Dratt. The VI Consortium says it was revealed during the advisement hearing that the father had been attempting to gain custody of his son, fearing that the boy was being abused by his mother and her companion. Even after numerous attempts and after registering a number of complaints with the Department of Human Services, he was not granted custody. During the advisement hearing, it was further revealed that the deceased boy's sister, who is also the child of the father, Aaron Benjamin Sr., also experienced a pattern of abuse by the mother and her boyfriend. Miss Daniel and Mr. Christopher, the latter who admitted to beating the child, causing him to fall and hit his head against a chair, were also charged with aggravated assault and battery, aggravated child abuse and neglect, and third-degree assault. Bail was set at $1 million, and both suspects were remanded to the Golden Grove Detention Center pending the advisement hearing. According to the affidavit, the deceased child was dead on arrival at the Wang F. Lewis Hospital. Out of Trinidad and Tobago. The government says it is financially reaching a conclusion a decade after the collapse of the Port of Spain-based regional insurance giant Colonial Life Insurance Company, CLICO, and its parent company, CL Financial. Finance Minister Carm Imbert, delivering the $53.03 billion Trinidad and Tobago budget to Parliament on Monday, said that the government had pumped an estimated $23 billion Trinidad and Tobago into a bailout plan for the company, nationnews.com says. He told legislators that when he came to office in 2015, the Keith Rowley government found the CL Financial CLICO agreement in disarray, with the shareholders and government in conflict and without any clear sight of a resolution. Mr. Imbert said that in addition, following 17 extensions of the original 2009 shareholders agreement without any clear repayment plan, the present administration had to act quickly when the former shareholders made a grab for CL Financial. He said that the liquidation process is now ongoing in the context of an orderly settlement of the debt owed by CL Financial to Trinidad and Tobago, and he expects the exercise to be completed in 2020. And finally, out of Guyana, Shamila Inderjali and Mariam Lionel, who are on trial for allegedly offering a policeman $4 million in cash to release the men accused in the murder of number 70 village carpenter Fayaz Narinidat on Tuesday, led the defense in unsworn testimony in which they claimed that the money was intended to be used as bail for the men. It is alleged that the two women corporately offered $4 million to Detective Sergeant Kamal Vitamal on the 19th of November 2016 at Eve Leary to forego charges against the suspects in custody for the murder, as well as Marcus Bizram, who was overseas and wanted by local authorities in connection with the crime. Bizram is the son of Inder Jali. According to SurbrookNews.com, when the women appeared before Senior Magistrate Leron Daly yesterday, they were told that the court would be allowing each to lead a defense to the charge. They both opted to do so through unsworn testimony. And that's it for the regional stories. Stay with us for news from around the world. Welcome back, and now the international news in detail. A Brexit deal has been agreed between UK and EU negotiating teams before a meeting of European leaders in Brussels. Prime Minister Boris Johnson tweeted, "We've got a great new deal that takes back control." The two sides have been working on the legal text of a deal, but it will still need the approval of both the UK and European parliaments. European Commission President Jean-Jacques Juncker said Brussels was satisfied with the deal.
It provides certainty where Brexit creates uncertainty. It protects the rights of our citizens, and it protects peace and stability on the island of Ireland. There will be no border on the island of Ireland, and the single market will be protected.
British PM Boris Johnson also called on British MPs to vote for the agreement.
I hope very much now, speaking of elected representatives, that my fellow MPs in Westminster do now come together to get Brexit done, to get this excellent deal over the line, and to deliver Brexit without any more delay, so that we can focus on the priorities of the British people, improving our health service, investing in 20,000 more police, lifting up the living wage, and many, many other things.
Veteran U.S. Democratic Congressman Elijah Cummings, who was heavily involved with the Trump impeachment inquiry, has died at the age of 68. His office said he had died as a result of long-standing health challenges. As chairman of the House of Representatives Oversight Committee, he had instigated several investigations into the Trump administration. He also clashed with administration officials over health care and immigration. The congressman had experienced several health problems in recent years and received treatment for heart condition. Prominent Democratic lawyers have paid tribute to Mr. Cummings following the news of his death. And finally, the president of Spain's Catalonian region has called for an immediate halt to violence as protests continued into a fourth day. "We condemn violence. This has to stop right now," said Quim Torra. He later said he would push for a new referendum on Catalan independence. Protesters clashed with riot police days after 9 separatist leaders were jailed for their role in failed push for independence. 96 people have been hurt. More in this BBC report.
This announcement will be seen as provocative by the Spanish government. In 2017, pro-independence Catalans defied court orders and staged a referendum, which led to a failed attempt to break away from Spain, triggering the current crisis. On Wednesday, a third consecutive night of disturbances saw pro-independence demonstrators clash with riot police after they had burnt garbage containers and some vehicles in central Barcelona.
That brings us to the end of our news segment. The latest in sports is next.
Hello? Joan, did you remember that pink is in at TDC Home and Building Depots?
It's that time again?
It sure is. This October, they have up to 75% off in their pink ribbon clearance sale. And don't forget, every October, TDC Home and Building Depots have free breast screenings every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And you can also support their Cook for the Cure barbecue events while you're there, you know. Plus, they have Pinktober specials all month long, so we can shop early and save.
So this October, think pink, think TDC Home and Building Depots?
That's right. Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
Welcome back. Another sports in detail. In cricket. Cricket Operations Manager for the Leeward Islands Cricket Board, LIBC, Vernon Springer, has confirmed that the St. Martin Cricket Association on Tuesday night pulled out of the LIBC 50 overs tournament scheduled to begin on Friday, October 18th. St. Martin was listed among 6 teams that will compete in this year's tournament to be played at 3 venues in the country from October 18th to October 26th. The reason behind it is that their board was trying to raise some funds, and because of the financial situation in St. Martin, they were not able to raise the necessary funds, Mr. Springer said. According to the Antigua Observer, however, St. Martin's departure has left its players in a quandary, as their non-participation would rule them out for selection to the Leeward Islands Hurricanes. Several of its players are said to be desperately trying to get into other teams playing in the tournament. Still in cricket, Steve Smith and David Warner are among the most expensive players listed in the man's draft for the 100. The 100 is the title of professional 100 ball cricket tournament in England and Wales run by the ECB, which will commence in July 2020. The batsmen who helped Australia retain the Ashes early this year carry the top £125,000 reserve price. Fellow Australian Mitchell Starc, West Indies batsman Chris Gayle, Sri Lanka's Lasith Malinga, and South Africa's paceman Kagiso Rabada will also cost £125,000. In football, La Liga has asked for El Clasico on 26 October to be switched from Barcelona Nou Camp Stadium to Real Madrid's Bernabeu over fears of civil unrest. There have been days of protest in Barcelona after 9 Catalan separatist leaders were jailed on Monday. La Liga made the request to the Spanish Football Federation, RFEF, and both clubs will be asked for their opinion. Barcelona will refuse the request as the club feels the switch is unnecessary, according to the BBC. More protests are expected in the city on the day of the match, and the RFEF says the move comes in exceptional circumstances beyond our control. The Federation's Competitions Committee will make its decision in the next few days. Barcelona and Real Madrid were not involved in La Liga's initial request, and there has been no official response from either club. It means the fixture scheduled for March will now take place in Barcelona. The Catalan Football Federation suspended all matches in the region on Monday, although that ruling does not affect La Liga matches or the Spanish national team. That's it for sports. The general weather forecast is next. Welcome back. Another local weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis. Tonight, there will be cloudy spells with a 60% or moderate chance of brief overnight showers and a 40% moderate chance of thunderstorms. Weather tomorrow will be cloudy with a mixture of brief showers mixed with lighter rain and a 50% or moderate chance of localized afternoon thunderstorms. Winds are east to south to northeast at 6 to 14 knots or 11 to 26 kilometers per hour. Tonight becoming east to southeasterly at 10 to 16 knots or 19 to 30 kilometers per hour tomorrow. Seas are 1 to 1.5 meters or 3 to 5 feet. Sunrise tomorrow will be at 6:04 a.m. And that's a wrap up the major news package for today, Thursday, 17th October 2019. Before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nationally, NEVLEC to commence street lighting replacement exercise no later than November 1st, and drones must be registered with customs upon importation into SKN, MOFA, and aviation says. Regionally, mother and companion charged with murder at advisement hearing in St. Croix, bail set at $1 million. Internationally, EU and UK reach Brexit deal, but DUP refuses support. And in sports, St. Martin pulls out of LICB tournament, Springer addresses umpire reports. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I am Tashan Tyson.